You feel sorry for Sanchez, Alex?
Yeah, I've just listened to you there, Mark. That's you've emptied your can of beans, and I feel sorry. I feel sorry for our boy Sanchez today. I really do. I mean, our club seems to now have a tendency to ruin the confidence in a lot of players. And I remember when he first joined us, and he was half decent. I think he was playing under Pochettino at the start.
Yeah, cost a lot of money and looked good, didn't he?
Yeah, I know. And he's just one of, I would say, more than a handful of players whose confidence has been totally ruined by our club. And that man with no hair sitting up in the stands today, he needs to go, because that was the frustration of the fans taken out on Sanchez. The frustration on him and his way of leading our club is then taken out on that poor boy Sanchez. And he's going to probably need some kind of counselling now after that poor boy. That's just not on.
Alex, just let me ask you this, because looking at it, we can speak about Chelsea and Leicester, but Spurs is actually the worst story from an outsider, because, as a Man United fan, I think Spurs looked very, very well placed to push for that top four race with Newcastle and Man United. And I know Conte basically sacked himself, but are you disappointed by what Spurs have done in reaction to Conte, or do you think it was right to go with Spalletti as the coach to the end of the season?
Yeah, I think it comes down. I mean, you've mentioned top four there, and that comes down to the greed of the board. And I think the most important thing now for us is to not finish in Europe, because then that gives the fans even a stronger voice. They've got a voice now. Well, they had a voice at the end of the game today, but they turned up the music on the tannoy to filter out the reality of the disappointment. So, you mentioned top four. I don't think top four is what we need. What we need is to get in a young manager, hopefully Vincent Kompany, who can then rebuild our club like our neighbours have done, and maybe new owners. But, it needs to be a policy and a way of thinking. Liverpool have got Klopp there, and Klopp's been there for 7 years. And look at how Liverpool are doing now. But they'll stand by him. They know what he's won. That's what he's put in their trophy cabinet. And that's what our demanding fan base is waiting for. Something to put in the trophy cabinet, And I think Kompany is kind of like the model we need forward. That's the way forward for our club.
Thanks, Alex. Thanks for opening the show. I don't know how firm the rumour is, but there is a story about Vincent Kompany apparently being the next Spurs manager. I think it'd be a very, very good appointment for him. But look, Spurs, I agree with Alex in a way. Sometimes, I remember this with Van Gaal at Manchester United. He very nearly got Champions League football, and if he had, he would have stayed. And many Man United fans at this time felt like it was short-term pain, long-term gain. Miss out on that, and it could prompt major change. And Spurs certainly need an identity, don't they? Duncan's also a Spurs fan. Not happy with what's gone on the pitch, Duncan. Is it on and off the pitch, or do you think it lies with the players?
It's on and off the pitch. I'm just travelling back up now with my lad. He summed it up when he said to me, it's a shambles today. We turned up at the stadium today. The first thing you see on the big screen outside the stadium is Beyonce, Red Hot Chili Peppers. Commercially, the club's doing great. You look at the shop, it's full. There's tourists everywhere, half and half scarves everywhere. On the pitch, football-wise, it's an utter shambles. We've got a director of football who is banned across Europe now, who we wheeled out in front of the press the day before, who he's removed. He's removed from that, obviously, that manager hunt as well. We've got a manager we've sacked, and we've got his number two who effectively plays the same system. The players are used to, obviously, they're going to be walking in and thinking, it's Conte Mark II, nothing's changed. And today, it was, the guy who was on before me, I completely agree with him. Like, Sanchez was thrown under the bus today. You can see, it's painfully obvious from the stands, home and away, his confidence is completely shot. He gets chucked on there when we probably needed to go to four at the back, and then he's hauled off half an hour later, having had a calamity. What happened today was horrible to see, to be fair, for a young lad. It was cheered when he came off, and that's not good to see, in any walk of life at all. But that is also on the manager as well, and it just shows the shambles of the club from top to bottom at the moment. I just don't know where we go from here. I think you're right. Somebody like Kompany, maybe Slot from Feyenoord, but honestly, the one man I do not want at our club is Brendan Rodgers. That would be the final straw for me. It really would.
Thanks for that, Duncan. Yeah, I don't know why Brendan Rodgers has been linked to Spurs and Spurs fans. I mean, as a non-Spurs fan, even I find that ridiculous. I don't know why you would do that. You've got to go for what Liverpool did with Klopp, what Arsenal did with Arteta, what Manchester United did with Ten Hag. If you could get a Nagelsmann, fantastic. But if you can't, do get a Vincent Kompany. The Feyenoord manager was mentioned there. Project and have an identity, because whatever anybody thinks about Tottenham, they don't play good football over the last few years, whether it's Mourinho, Conte, or now. And I grew up, Spurs were always an entertaining team. They might not win anything, but they did have an identity, and it's completely gone. They need to get that back.